Coach Greg Schiano. How do we assess Coach Greg Schiano's performance as the head coach of Rutgers this season? Well, to do that, you have to really consider where he came from, what he inherited as a team, and where he brought this team. Coach Schiano's first stint from 2001 to 2011, he inherited a Rutgers team that historically has been at the bottom of the conference. Okay, 1-9 seasons, some winless seasons, never considered a contender or relevant on the national stage. And the first 3 or 4 years for Coach Schiano in that first stint were very rough. But he turned around that team. He turned around the team such that they became relevant nationally and were consistently going to major bowl games before he left in 2011. Then, of course, several years later, we had the Chris Ash era, where Rutgers deteriorated and reverted back to historically being one of the poorest teams in the conference and not relevant in any manner on the national or even regional stage. So Schiano got a second stint. And in the second stint, we're seeing the same pattern as the first. The first few years were rough, but now in his fourth year, Rutgers is starting to turn it around. And if you look at his record and the pattern of the victories from his first stint to his second stint, you will see identically the trajectory upon which Rutgers is improving its performance. It's the fourth year again. Rutgers is now 6-4. Rutgers is challenging some of the top teams in the country, and although they're not there yet, they are in a position to become relevant in the future. So given what Schiano has done in his first stint, what he's doing in his second stint, there really can't be anything else to say than Greg Schiano has done a fantastic job for Rutgers University, for Rutgers football, and for the state of New Jersey. And Coach Schiano, you are respected, you are a fantastic coach, and we look forward to having you on the show next month. Having said that, we have to look at not only the present, but we have to look at the future. Coach Schiano is not going to coach at Rutgers forever. And one thing we know from his first and his second stint is that coaches who have, the coaches at Rutgers, both before and in between his first and second stints, have not been successful. So when I look at Coach Schiano, and I say this having the utmost respect for Coach Schiano, a New Jersey native, a great coach, and a great man, ultimately, he will not be here forever. And this will be more of a transitional phase to a Rutgers program that hopefully will ultimately become competitive on an elite level. What Coach Schiano is doing is taking this team from the bottom of the conference and making them competitive. Can he make them competitive with the Ohio States, the Oregons, the Texases? Not right now, because the team doesn't have the depth. Okay? They don't necessarily have the talent, but they certainly are well coached and have some playmakers and have become relevant. But Coach Schiano, like I said, won't be here forever. So what happens after Coach Schiano? What coach is going to build upon the legacy that Schiano has built and bring Rutgers to an elite status such that Rutgers is in the playoffs, competing for national championships and getting the best recruits? Well, that's my message to Rutgers. Coach Schiano is in many ways a savior of Rutgers football, but Coach Schiano isn't going to live for 150 years. Coach Schiano is building a foundation that the next coach has to capitalize on. So how do you do that? 3 ways. Number 1, Rutgers has to get serious about recruiting. Yes, they have talent, but they do not have depth. Now, we're in the era of NIL. And in NIL, that people think, well, that gives elite teams with a lot of resources an unfair advantage. But it also gives lower-ranked teams a chance to achieve parity. Rutgers University has to commit to their program and get the best players. And how do you do that? you're going to have to pay them. Rutgers has to commit to paying 5-star recruits millions of dollars up front to come play for Rutgers. And why is that important? Because once you get a few 5-star players, it's a domino effect. Other players are going to want to come to join those players. So Rutgers has to make an institutional commitment to being a nationally relevant national title contender. And that begins up front with the administration saying, if Bryce Underwood is the best recruit in the nation and Michigan just offered Bryce $10.1 million, we're going to offer him 20. We're going to outpay. We are going to outbid any team in the country to get these players. Because once you get one, once you get two, others will follow, and Rutgers' name as a place that's going to pay you the money you deserve is going to lead Rutgers to get the kind of players that are currently going to the Georgias, the LSUs, and the Texases. The second thing is Rutgers has to take advantage of the transfer portal. Okay, there's a lot of players at Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, and other schools who are 4- and 5-star players but do not get to start in their freshman year. And a lot of them don't like that. They may not even start in their second year, and they don't like that either. So they may want to transfer. That's where Rutgers has to come in with the money, okay? The money to get these players so that they can get them on the team, get them on the field, and enhance both the talent and the depth on the offensive and defensive side. The third thing that Rutgers needs to do is commit to developing players, because money isn't enough. You don't just build a great team by paying players. In fact, it can have the opposite effect. You can have a team of all-stars but no cohesion whatsoever. So Rutgers needs to commit to developing players and building the kind of team-first atmosphere that Michigan did under Jim Harbaugh, and that manifested in a national championship last year. That team was a team. As Bo Schembechler often said, the team. They need to develop a culture at Rutgers, a culture that develops players, that places players in the NFL, and that teaches players the tangible and intangible skills that are necessary to be successful at Rutgers, in the NFL, and in life. And if they do that, Rutgers will be a place where 4- and 5-star kids want to start going to, because they're going to make the money, they're going to be part of a team, and they're going to get developed as players and people and have a future in the NFL. Those are the ingredients that Rutgers needs to become what Greg Schiano is building, an elite team on the national level. Coach Schiano, you've done that. You've built that foundation. And I know Rutgers fans and New Jersey residents will be eternally grateful. But when your time at Rutgers ends, we need somebody who's going to embrace that recipe and who's going to build on what you have to make Rutgers a household name in college football. And we have a call tonight. We have a call from Defiant calling in. Defiant, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for calling into the Rutgers show. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Hey, Adam, congratulations. Rutgers made a bowl game.
I know. Well, after those 4 losses, I was skeptical, but really good win tonight. Very, very pleased.
Yeah, I'm like, if you guys lost to Maryland, at that point, it's like, well, do you want to make a bowl game? Do you want to, like, go 4-8, 5-7, and regroup for next year? Or do you want to, make a bowl game? So I was very happy that you guys won today against a Maryland team who really isn't that good this year compared to the past previous years. So.
Yeah, I was kind of skeptical, and I thought this was kind of like a turning point for our season, because we start off 4-0, we lose 4. Well, we start off 4-0, then I start the show and we lose 4. So I'm apparently the jinx. But then we win 1, and now was a kind of a turning point. Are we going to revert back to the Rutgers of old and go 5-7, or are we going to turn the corner? And I think this was a positive development. And with Illinois and Michigan State, our remaining 2 games, I think we have a shot to end up 8-4, or at least, I think we can end up 8-4.
Yeah, and I can see you guys split the 2 games too, beat Michigan State and then lose to Illinois. 7-5 is still a great season for you guys.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, for
mean,
Rutgers, 7-5
you
is
guys
a
won 7
victory.
games last year. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you guys won 7 games last year, but to win 7 games in the regular season, it's been a little while since that actually happened.
Yeah. It happened primarily under Coach Schiano during his first stint from 2001 to 2011. But after that, and especially from 2017 2020, we were at the bottom of the conference, completely ignored and irrelevant. So it's good to see that we're at least starting to build